My CEO wife is holding a century wedding for me, yet the once poor scholarship student has become the new groom instead. On the day the company went public, the news that my CEO wife was going to make up the grand wedding for me spread across the entire city. But just as we sat inside the wedding car, a call with no name popped up on her phone. I regret it. My always calm and composed wife suddenly had red-rimmed eyes. Panicking, she pushed me out of the wedding car. Honey, something has gone terribly wrong with the collaboration with the Rodriguez family. It concerns the life and death of the company. We'll have to hold the wedding another time. The car sped away, kicking up dust. I looked at my own leg, now bloody and mangled, and, enduring the pain, stopped a taxi. The collaboration with the Rodriguez family was something I had begged my parents to help my wife secure. If something had gone wrong, how could they possibly not tell me? I wanted to see exactly what could be more important than our wedding. Main story. The wedding car sped ahead, and the taxi driver could barely keep up. But as I watched the increasingly familiar streets flash by, the doubt in my chest only deepened. The car stopped in front of the hotel where Zara and I had booked to hold our wedding. The moment I got out of the taxi, firecrackers exploded, and laughter rippled through the air. Could it be that someone else was getting married today? Suppressing the uneasiness in my chest, I followed the crowd inside. On stage, the bride and groom walked hand in hand to the reception platform, smiling brightly as they spoke. Thank you all for coming to our wedding. If there's anything we failed to do well enough, we hope for your understanding. The bride in the white wedding dress was unmistakably my wife, Zara. Then who was the man beside her? When the groom turned around, and I clearly saw his face, I froze in place. It felt like all the blood in my body solidified. How could it be Leander? In a daze, I heard the guests around me sigh in admiration. I'm telling you, Zara's luck is unbelievable. The husband she kept hidden all these years turns out to be the young master of the Rodriguez group. Truly enviable. I heard their lovers from school uniforms to wedding dress. Isn't this what it means to marry for love? So blessed. Since when did my Rodriguez family have another young master? Why didn't anyone notify me? Besides, back in school, the only impression Zara had of Leander was finding him poor and shabby. If I hadn't pitted Leander and secretly sponsored him under the Rodriguez family's name, he wouldn't have even been able to afford school. Last year, when I heard he lost his job, I even kindly referred him into the company, hoping to help him one more time. I asked myself, I had already done more than enough, so I could not understand how Leander was suddenly standing at the wedding venue, as my wife Zara's husband. Clenching my fists tightly, a crushing pain hammered through my chest. On stage, Zara was holding Leander's hand tightly as she confessed to him with affection. Yes, I'm truly fortunate, and truly happy. I once promised him that when the company went public, I'd hold a grand wedding, and today, I finally fulfilled that promise. Applause and cheers erupted throughout the hall. My in-laws, who had always looked down on me, couldn't stop smiling. From now on, with the Rodriguez family as her backing, Zara's company will soar. I heard the collaboration is already set. Looks like young President Rodriguez just couldn't bear to let his wife struggle. Ha ha ha. Give them a kiss. Give them a kiss. Amid the excited cheers of the guests, Leander Rodriguez wrapped an arm around Zara's waist and, unable to restrain himself, kissed her. Only when Zara's face turned completely red did he finally let go. In the past, we kept our relationship private only because I didn't want people to think Zara's achievements were all thanks to my Rodriguez family. But as everyone said, I really can't bear to let her keep struggling. Zara smiled sweetly, picked up the microphone, and was about to say a few more loving words when she lifted her head and accidentally met my eyes. Instinctively, she pushed Leander away. The face that had been flushed with shyness instantly drained of all color. Alexia. Zara. How come nobody told me the groom was replaced? Eyes burning red, I walked onto the stage despite the pain, snatched the microphone, and threw it hard at her. So this is the company life or death emergency you talked about. The microphone hit the ground with a sharp screech. The banquet hall, noisy just moments ago, fell silent instantly. Zara didn't expect me to make a move. Her expression turned cold as she pointed at me and screamed, Alexia, how dare you put your hands on me? No sooner had she spoken than my mother-in-law rushed onto the stage and slapped me across the face. You shameless thing, haven't you bothered my daughter long enough? My daughter and son-in-law are married, can't you show some dignity and stay away? You think our family is easy to bully? My father-in-law called for security. If you don't get out now, I'll call the police. Zara is soft-hearted, but as her family, we will not let you cause trouble here anymore. The slap hit the side of my ear so hard that a piercing ringing filled my head. I knew my in-laws never liked me, but how did I, her legally wedded husband, suddenly become a clingy, pestering nuisance? So I looked at Zara and asked through a tightening throat, call the police on who? Zara, we dated for 7 years and have been married for 3. Tell me, who exactly is the shameless one here? My words set off a wave of whispers among the crowd. Before Zara could respond, Leander stepped forward, shielding her, and shouted at me, "Enough, spreading baseless, slanderous rumors about a woman. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? If you have a problem, bring it to me." His aggressive, protective stance immediately drew countless cheers of admiration. Zara looked at him with worship in her eyes, showing a soft, delicate side I had never seen. "Leander, you're so good." Pressed close to each other, they looked like they wanted to pour out their love right on the spot, completely forgetting I existed. With one arm wrapped around Zara, Leander shot me a faintly smug look. "Alexia, my Rodriguez family has sponsored you for so many years, and who would have thought we'd end up raising an ungrateful wolf? You're young, healthy, fully capable. Why cling to a female CEO for a free ride, becoming a mooch who lives off a woman without any shame?" I had no idea whether Leander knew my true identity, but hearing him distort the truth so wildly, all I felt was absurdity, utter, ridiculous absurdity. After hearing his words, the guilt in Zara's eyes completely vanished, replaced by open disgust as she scolded me. "Have I not made myself clear enough? Since our school days, Leander and I have been in love. We promised we'd spend our entire lives together. Alexia, if you harass me again, you can forget about ever working in this industry." Her words immediately stirred a wave of derisive comments in the crowd. "So he's just a kept man trying to latch onto a rich woman. Poor people really do lose their backbone. Who knows if he's ever gotten on his knees for money behind the scenes? Did he think our CEO Zara wouldn't mind something so dirty? Where are the security guards? Hurry up and drag him out. I don't want to catch something gross." Leander's face darkened, and he said nothing. Watching his expression grow darker, I let out a cold laugh. "Leander, do you really think what they said is true? When you couldn't even afford meals in school, crying on your knees in front of the Rodriguez building begging for sponsorship, was that you or me? And after you lost your job, who begged me to help you find work? Now you're holding my wife and pretending to be a young master of the Rodriguez family. Do you really believe a nobody can suddenly turn into a phoenix?" My words hit his weakest spot. Leander's eyes turned bloodshot, and he was on the verge of losing control. But before he could speak, someone grabbed my trouser leg and yanked hard, throwing me off the half-meter-high stage. My lower back slammed onto the ground. The pain was so sharp I could barely form words, nearly blacking out completely. Surrounding me were my colleagues, faces twisted with malice. "You're a useless loser with zero performance. What qualifications do you have to help anyone get into the company? Every multi-million-dollar deal we've ever had was brought in thanks to President Rodriguez's connections. Do you really think a few words from you can smear him? Wearing a knockoff suit, aren't you embarrassed? With people like this backing him." The arrogance returned to Leander's eyes. "As long as I'm here, this company will never lack huge deals. You, who didn't even attend university and come from a poor background, where do you get your confidence?" The mocking voices never stopped. I lay on the ground, pale and unable to move, and my wife stood there, completely indifferent, as if I were a stranger. "Zara, when you made me wait year after year, what vows did you swear to me?" I coughed. I wanted to laugh, but my voice trembled badly. "You said that all this waiting proved our love, that it could overcome everything. But right now, what are you doing?" I saw Zara's fingertips twitch slightly, a brief flicker of emotion on her face, but the very next second, Leander took her hand. "Zara, if he truly loved you, he would want you to live a better life, not ruin your happiness and future again and again like this." Zara's expression grew colder and colder, until finally, her frostbitten eyes held nothing but disappointment. "A selfish person like you has no place in the company. Alexia, you're fired." "Selfish?" She actually had the nerve to call me selfish. I let out a hollow laugh. Those multi-million-dollar deals, which one wasn't the result of me working day and night to create proposals and secure them? "Zara, put your hand on your heart and ask yourself, from startup to going public, how much effort have I given this company?" But just as I finished speaking, Leander shot back. "If not for the face of my Rodriguez family, do you really think you're flawed? Loophole-filled proposals could close any deals." Zara clearly believed him. She picked up the microphone and smashed it toward me in anger. "Alexia, how dare you? The company grew to the scale because of me and Leander. How dare you try to claim the credit?" Kneel and apologize to Leander. She seemed to have completely forgotten that we were legally married. Right now, all she wanted was to crush my pride and dignity beneath her feet to make Leander look better. If Leander were truly the young master of the Rodriguez family, then starting today, I would probably lose everything. Unfortunately for him, he wasn't. And I had planned to tell Zara my true identity right at the wedding. Supporting myself on the steps, I stood up. I looked at Zara with a cold smile. "Neil, are you absolutely sure that this man calling himself Leander Rodriguez is actually the young master of the Rodriguez family? If the Rodriguez family's young master is getting married, Why isn't a single Rodriguez family member here? And you say I'm spreading rumors, then can you prove that we never had a marital relationship? My questions came out one by one, clear and forceful. Soon, people around us started echoing doubts. Yeah, I heard the Rodriguez young master is very cherished by his family. How could none of them show up at his wedding? Is it possible that Alexia is telling the truth? Look, his name is Alexia Rodriguez too. What if he's the real young master of the Rodriguez family? Hearing this, Leander's expression changed drastically. Trying his best to stay calm, he barked back at me. The Rodriguez family didn't come simply because I didn't want to make this too high profile. But when I met you, you didn't even have 4 yuan to buy lemonade and had to borrow from Zara. How could a Rodriguez young master be that poor? Zara completely believed him by now. With venom in her eyes, she pulled out a red booklet and slapped it against my face. Open your eyes and see for yourself whose names are on the marriage certificate. Leander and I are the ones who have been legally married for 3 years. The names on the certificate, Zara and Leander, stabbed straight into my eyes like needles. No wonder on the day we registered the marriage, her eyes were filled with guilt. No wonder she always avoided showing me the certificate. Years of feelings, of obsession, collapsed all at once. Turns out everything was just my wishful thinking. My so-called wife had never intended to marry me at all. Seeing me frozen, the crowd began attacking me again. I knew it. Zara and the Rodriguez family make a perfect match. Who's this lunatic trying to claim ties? If you're mentally ill, go get treated. Don't come out here disgusting others. Look at how shabby and scruffy he is. How could he possibly be a Rodriguez young master? Kneel and apologize. Someone held me down, trying to force me to kneel. In the struggle, I saw Leander lean close to me, curling his lips into a venomous smile as he whispered, Zara is already pregnant with my child. You should be grateful I changed my mind today, otherwise you'd end up raising it for me. How dare they humiliate me like this? A blazing rage surged through my chest. I clenched my fist and swung it with all my strength, smashing it directly into Leander's face. Arg! Leander let out a scream. I raised my fist again for a second punch, but an iron rod slammed into my knee, forcing me to collapse onto the ground. Alexia, you dare hurt Leander. You brought this on yourself. Zara's face was dark as she ordered the bodyguards holding me down. Break his legs. You dare. I glared at Zara, struggling desperately. I am the real young master of the Rodriguez family. If you touch me, the Rodriguez family won't spare a single person here. But my words only drew loud laughter. Still pretending. With acting skills like that, you should go into showbiz. Better than scheming to be a homewrecker. Ha ha ha. The bodyguards raised their iron rods high over my knees. Stop moving. If you stay still, you'll suffer fewer blows. In an instant, the pain of my bones shattering made me scream. Zara, you're going to regret this. The Rodriguez family will never let you go. Just wait. Leander held Zara in his arms as she looked down at me with a cold sneer. Wait for what? You useless nobody from a poor background, already at death's door, and still bragging. I've already been merciful. You hurt Leander, so you only owe him 2 legs. Since their employers didn't care, the bodyguards naturally wouldn't show mercy. I stared helplessly as the iron rod lifted again. Just as it was about to land, a furious shout exploded from the entrance, filled with boundless rage. The young master of the Rodriguez family, who dares lay a hand on him? Clang! Bodyguards with military backgrounds burst in, cold-faced, kicking the iron rod aside. They surrounded me, blocking anyone from coming close. What young master of the Rodriguez family? Zara gritted her teeth, her voice shrill. Alexia, you actually hired people to put on this show. Don't you feel like a clown? Leander let out a mocking snort, still not giving up. A few bodyguards don't prove anything unless the head of the Rodriguez family shows up. What if I'm here? The authoritative voice crashed through the hall like thunder. My parents. My nose burned, and my eyes instantly reddened. My mother-in-law's face lit up with delight, clearly misreading the situation, and she rushed forward obsequiously. Mr. Rodriguez, you must be here to attend Leander's wedding, right? But before she could finish, a bodyguard shoved her aside. Alexia. My mother's gaze landed on me, overflowing with heartbreak and fury. I must have looked horrific. My lower leg was mangled and bloody, my swollen face still bearing the imprint of a slap, and my groom's suit was torn and filthy. As the only son of the Rodriguez family, I had never suffered humiliation like this. Everyone froze at the sound of Alexia, too shocked to speak. Mom, I tried to stand, but my mother pushed me back down forcefully. You're injured like this and still want to act tough in front of me. Stay put. Wait until I'm done dealing with this trash. She turned, her icy gaze sweeping across the hall. Who was it that wanted to break my son's legs? No one dared answer. Zara's face had already turned ghostly white. The bodyguards who had attacked me had collapsed onto the floor, trembling and crying. We were just following orders. Young Master Rodriguez, please spare us. I lay quietly, saying nothing. My mother's expression remained cold as she ordered, drag them out. Whatever leg of Alexia's they touched, break the same one of theirs, ignoring their screams and pleas. My mother walked over to my terrified mother-in-law and slapped her across the face. Who gave you the courage to slap my son? The sharp edge of her ring cut across my mother-in-law's cheek, leaving a harsh bloody gash. Her once carefully maintained face swelled instantly. She didn't even dare scream. Realizing the truth, her eyes rolled back, and she fainted on the spot. My mother snorted coldly. Useless thing. On the other side, my father stood before Zara and Leander, a chilling aura radiating from him. So this is the woman you stole the household registration book for, ran away from home for, just to secretly marry? I let out a bitter laugh and turned my head away, not daring to meet my father's gaze. After learning that Zara and I were dating, my parents had warned me many times that she wasn't someone who could stay loyal, but I was love-struck and stubborn. I didn't listen, didn't believe them, insisted on marrying her. I knew you were stubborn. I originally planned to let you go through some hardships until you regretted your choice. But when your mother and I saw you working day and night on proposals for her company, drinking until you landed in the hospital just to win investors, how could we bear to let you suffer like that? You begged us to help her little company, so we did. But what did she do? My father's tone was unexpectedly gentle, but when he turned his gaze toward Zara, the authority and fury of someone in power crashed down like a wave. For a fake young master, she pushed you out of a wedding car. She even tried to break your legs. She dared to fake a marriage with you, and then dared to get pregnant with some bastard's child, expecting the heir of the Rodriguez family to raise it. Zara's expression grew increasingly panicked. After hearing everything my father said, cold sweat poured down her face, and sheer terror twisted her pale features. Mr. Rodriguez. I was just angry. I never truly meant to break Alexia's legs. Heh. My father bent down, picked up an iron rod. Then how about I say something in anger too? Under the sight of the raised iron rod, Zara nearly collapsed from fear. Trembling, she let out a sharp, terrified scream. But father didn't swing it down. He threw the rod aside and looked at me with deep, aching concern. You handle these two yourself. Remember, a child of the Rodriguez family will never swallow such humiliation for nothing. I nodded, speaking calmly. Then let her go bankrupt. Whether it was the major contracts I secured with sleepless effort, the investments I brought in, or the privileges my parents gave her for my sake, everything Zara possessed now, I would take back piece by piece. No, no. Zara collapsed to her knees, crawling toward me in horror. I was wrong. Alexia, give me one more chance, please. I repent. I'll kneel and apologize to you. The once cold, untouchable CEO now looked nothing like her former self. Tears and snot streaked down her face as she banged her head against the floor. Alexia, it was that bastard Leander who fooled me. He tricked me. When I didn't respond, her reddened eyes lifted, and she snatched up the iron rod, swinging it toward Leander with murderous force. It was this vile man who seduced me. He stole all your credit. I'll break his legs right now to avenge you. Leander was caught off guard. Zara nearly cracked his skull open. Bitch. Blood streamed down his forehead as he slapped Zara so hard her face twisted. You're the one who mistook me for the Rodriguez family's young master, shamelessly clinging to me. You were the one who insisted on having my child, wasn't it? They hurled the vilest insults as they clawed at each other, tearing into one another like animals. Meanwhile, the wedding hall guests looked at me with nothing but fear and desperate flattery. Where did Leander get the nerve to impersonate the Rodriguez young master? I knew it. He looked petty and low class from the start. What part of him looked like the heir of a rich family? With a husband like that, Zara still wasn't satisfied. However she ends up, she deserves it. I frowned. Those voices were simply irritating. So I coldly said without any emotion, shut up. Every person who laid a hand on me or insulted me, the Rodriguez family will not spare a single one of you. In an instant, it was as if everyone's throats had been seized. The entire hall fell dead silent. They wanted to beg for mercy, but were too afraid to open their mouths and further anger me. They all trembled and shrank into the corners. With the hall cleared, Zara and Leander, still grappling with each other, became painfully conspicuous. Leander kicked Zara hard in the abdomen. Then he crawled toward me, desperately trying to flatter. Young master, I've already kicked that bastard child out of her. Please, have mercy on me. Spare my life. Leander, you deserve to die. I'll kill you and Alexia will forgive me. Zara's legs were covered in blood, her screams filled with unbearable pain. Honey, save me, please, save me. We can redo the wedding. I'll prepare one even grander than this one. I'll let the whole world know. She reached out to grab me. I stood, supporting myself, my face full of disgust as I stepped away from her touch. Filthy. Don't touch me. Those few words instantly shattered every fantasy Zara still clung to. She stared at me in despair. I added, one word at a time. Don't call me husband. That man over there is your legal spouse, and you have no future left. Someone as rotten as you deserves to end up with nothing. I didn't spare them another glance. With my parents helping me, I boarded the ambulance heading to the hospital. Fortunately, though I had looked severely injured, it was all superficial. Not a single bone was broken. After resting for some time, I recovered. Once I was healed, my parents had a long conversation with me in the study, intending to gradually hand the group's affairs over to me. Looking at the silver strands in my father's hair, and the wrinkles at the corners of my mother's eyes, I accepted the responsibility solemnly. As work got busier and busier, I nearly forgot Zara existed, until my assistant reported to me with a complicated expression. A woman claiming to be your wife is causing trouble online, saying she wants to meet you. Have the PR department handle it. I didn't even look up from the documents. Back when I was recovering in the hospital, Zara's company had already gone bankrupt. I heard she offended the Rodriguez group. She held a pearl in her hand, yet treated a worthless pebble as if it were treasure. All her partners fled overnight. Everyone was afraid that if they waited even a second longer, they'd be dragged down with her when the Rodriguez family settled accounts. When the tree fell, the monkeys scattered. Those company employees who had bullied me to curry favor with her, soon enough, they all ran away too. Zara had nothing left. Just like before we dated, she was someone who originally had nothing. Back in school, she had poor grades, and I tutored her patiently. One problem after another. After graduation, she wanted to start a business. I used all the money I saved from working part-time, wrote plan after plan, and lifted her up step by step. I thought that even if my parents never accepted her, the two of us could create a future on our own. But never did I imagine that once she reached the top, she would mercilessly push me down. The PR department moved quickly. Not only were all of Zara's accounts permanently banned, but they also subtly implied that the real wife of the president was someone else entirely. Online comments said, I knew it. How could that crazy woman possibly be President Rodriguez's wife? Heard the future Mrs. President is surnamed Chan. Could it be the young heiress of the Chan family? A perfect match between powerful families. I'm so jealous. Ever since my parents stepped down from the president's position, they spent all day thinking about introducing me to daughters from respectable, well-matched families. Afraid I still couldn't forget Zara. Serafina Chan was one of them, the one with the best temper and personality, and the one my parents liked the most. Seeing the sudden trending topic online, I pinched the bridge of my nose and called my mother. Mom, Serafina and I don't even have anything going on. How could you instruct PR to say such things? Then hurry up and make something happen. Leaving that one sentence, my mother hung up without hesitation. But I didn't want to use a new relationship to heal old wounds. It wouldn't be fair to the next person. So, to apologize, I arranged to meet Serafina at a private club to explain my past. But before Serafina arrived, I saw Zara first. The CEO, who once never left the house without wearing designer brands, was now in a loose-threaded, cheap t-shirt, haggard and exhausted, waiting outside the club entrance. She must have found my schedule somehow. When she saw me, a final glimmer of hope flashed in her eyes. Alexia, everything online is fake, right? That talk about the president's wife, how could you fall in love with someone else? Why couldn't I fall in love with someone else? I brushed her hand away. I was so speechless it was almost funny. But Zara heard nothing. Muttering like she'd lost her mind, she completely drowned in her own delusions. Because you love me. We were going to hold a grand wedding, then see the aurora in the Arctic. Remember? Don't you remember? I calmly took a step back. How could I remember something that never existed? Stop pretending to be crazy, Zara. Someone as extremely selfish as you could never truly go insane. Zara's expression froze, with her facade completely torn apart. The last scrap of her pride was trampled beneath my feet. When she looked up again, her lips trembled, and the bloodshot in her eyes twisted into something feral and desperate. Alexia, what do you want before you'll let me live? Must I die for you to be satisfied? Heh, live. I didn't know when Serafina had arrived. She stepped out from the shadows, her smile gentle, yet every word she spoke was razor-sharp. When you were shouting about breaking Alexia's legs, did you ever think about giving him a chance to live? If he hadn't been the Rodriguez family's young master, just an ordinary man, do you think he could still be standing here unharmed? As she spoke, she naturally linked her arm with mine. And honestly, you're giving yourself too much credit. From what I know, the Rodriguez family hadn't even made a move yet, and your company had already gone bankrupt. Under Zara's near-collapsing gaze, Serafina delivered the final blow. And as for the wedding, don't trouble yourself. Alexia will prepare for me a wedding more grand than anything seen before. Once full of ambition and ringing the Nasdaq bell at her company's IPO, she now sat collapsed on the ground, crying. disheveled. She tried desperately to grab me. Don't get married, please, don't marry someone else. The baby is gone already. Forgive me, just this once. We loved each other for so many years. We promised we'd be together forever. I lowered my head and looked down at Zara, watching her sobbing uncontrollably. I felt nothing but disgust. So I took Serafina's hand and made a promise. I guarantee I'll give you a wedding so grand it will astonish the entire world. Coincidentally, my childhood friends arrived at the club and happened to witness this scene. They rushed over excitedly, chattering. Wow, since when did you two get together? And you hid it from us? We were already on the way to the hotel last time with our red envelopes. And you bastards suddenly texted saying the wedding was cancelled. This time, you better not ditch us. Spotting Zara, one of them clicked his tongue. Well, if it isn't our ungrateful traitor, Zara. I wanted to say it back then, a person who couldn't even write a decent proposal. What did you ever see in her? These people, every single one of them used to be the wealthy heirs Zara desperately tried to climb toward, because she once received a few approving glances from them. She thought she might find someone better. That she didn't have to be dragged down by Alexia, whose family wasn't wealthy. Zara froze. Then she forced out a smile uglier than crying and asked, "You all said my proposals were interesting, that's why you invested. And you hinted I deserved better, didn't you? You couldn't even recognize polite social niceties." My friends burst into laughter, almost doubling over, and my exact words were, "Zara has potential. She must cherish the opportunity." Meaning, you should cherish Alexia. Everything here should have belonged to her. Zara stared at me and Serafina with a twisted expression. That radiant, fairy tale love, that enviable life, was supposed to be hers. She could have become the winner everyone admired, but she was blind. And threw it away herself. Alexia. I was deceived. I'm a victim too, why can't you forgive me? Her sobbing tore through the air. Her shamelessness truly exhausted me, so I let out a cold laugh and walked up to her. Zara, how on earth are you a victim? You shamelessly cheated, lied to me, tried to erase everything I did. How are you any different from Leander? Seeing Leander rushing over, I lifted my head and laughed freely. You two deserve each other. I'm so sorry, it's my fault. I failed to keep an eye on her and let her disturb you. Mr. Rodriguez. Leander bowed repeatedly, apologizing with clumsy eagerness. After that, he grabbed Zara roughly and practically dragged her out. Yes, this is all your fault. Zara screamed and struggled. You bastard, let go of me. I still need to apologize to Alexia. He will forgive me, he definitely will. The two glared at each other with hatred. Not a trace of their former love remained, only mutual loathing. Come on, let's go. My friends patted me on the shoulder, their eyes bright with mischief. Heard Uncle Rodriguez bought you a cruise ship. Aren't you taking us on board? Don't you dare forget your brothers just because you have a wife now. We're going tomorrow, I agreed helplessly. When I turned back, my gaze met Serafina's. Her cheeks lightly flushed. Something flickered in my chest. I thought, perhaps I could finally let the past go. After that day, Zara disappeared entirely, leaving behind only a few sighs of pity. My parents would occasionally probe me. Worried, I grit my teeth and rolled my eyes at them. You two really enjoy being hands-off bosses, don't you? Do you know how busy I am every day? And do I look like someone pathetic? Is Serafina not good enough? How sick would I have to be to still miss a rotten person like that? Only then were they relieved. And then they immediately began poking around about my progress with Serafina. We're doing great. Serafina was completely different from Zara. She had a rich inner world. She never needed to drain energy from me. When we were in the same room, we could quietly do our own things. Like old friends who didn't need many words, just one glance and we understood each other. On the day we announced the wedding date, my friends gathered at the club, gleefully gossiping about Zara. Guess what? A while ago I went to eat out and saw that ungrateful traitor working as a waitress. What? She can't even get a proper job now. Heard she had a few at the beginning, but that fake young master went crazy, dragging her down every time he could. One job after another got ruined by him, and with her reputation spreading, no company wants her now. Someone asked me, curious, was that your doing? I shrugged, took a sip of wine, and kept silent with a faint smile. Anyone daring to impersonate me, the last person the Rodriguez family would spare was Leander, with the Rodriguez family issuing word. Forget proper jobs, no one would even hire him as a waiter, with no income. He clung to Zara like a parasitic vine, trying to suck her dry. Zara wanted to get rid of him. But the legal marriage was like a curse, binding them together forever, inescapable. Of course, I intentionally targeted only Leander. Weren't they in love? Didn't Leander swear he didn't want Zara to suffer? I wanted to see whether Zara could endure the consequences of the choices she made, but I never expected Zara to sneak into the guest list on our wedding day and break into the banquet hall. Alexia, She stumbled toward me, waving a knife. Your bride can only be me. If I kill everyone standing in the way, you'll come back to me. Seeing her aim straight for Serafina, I stepped in front of Serafina almost instinctively. The next second, bodyguards surged forward and took Zara down on the spot, pinned to the floor like a dead dog. Zara struggled in despair, watching me protect Serafina carefully, asking her softly if she was frightened. It wasn't supposed to be like this. How can you possibly love someone else? She finally looked as though she had woken up from her delusion, laughing and crying like a madwoman. She suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood. Fortunately, the wedding still ended perfectly in the end. When we were lying on the beaches of Hawaii, enjoying our honeymoon, a trending headline suddenly popped up. Husband killer, former CEO, how did she fall to becoming a murderer? Only then did I learn that on our wedding day, in her desperation and rage, Zara had stabbed Leander to death, hacked him into pieces, stored him in a freezer, then carried the knife and sneaked into the wedding. She hated Leander, and she hated Serafina. In her deranged logic, she believed that as long as she killed Serafina, we could still be together. What are you looking at? Serafina leaned over curiously. After reading the headline, she let out a long sigh. She really is the kind of person who never believes she's done anything wrong. Yes, Zara was exactly that type of person. Thankfully, I saw her true nature before it was too late. Before she dragged me into hell with her. Thank you, Leander. Later, because the murder was intentional and caused severe public outrage, Zara was sentenced to life in prison. I heard she was bullied badly inside. All the guests Rodriguez family had punished during the wedding hated Zara deeply and were doing everything they could to make her life in prison unbearable. She still wants to see me. I poked my son's chubby cheek, amused to the point of laughing out loud. My wife slapped my hand away, annoyed. Don't be so rough. Look, his face is turning red. Hee hee. I wrapped my arms around her waist, smiling with pure happiness. Well, if I can't poke him, I can poke you, right? Zara's situation faded from my mind quickly. She was just someone irrelevant now. I was far too busy to waste even a moment of my life on her. Who cares whether she lives or dies? All I know is, I'm happy now, and I'll only be happier in the future.